All right, thank you everyone for being here. As I said, this is one of our last few Wise Up Wednesday sessions for the semester. So for those of you that are still missing some of those requirements, make sure you look on Triton Connect for the upcoming dates of our last few Wise Up Wednesday sessions. Again, thank you for being here. And then today we have Margaret from Counseling Services, if I'm correct, to speak with us today. So I'll go ahead and let Margaret take over.
All right, thank you so much, Michaela. I am going to share my screen and start my presentation. Okay, so I'm here today from Counseling Services to talk about how self-care is not selfish and is actually a really important part of just being in the world, being a student, but also being someone just, you know, in your career. This is not just a college skill. This is not just a university skill, but something that like therapists and mental health professionals really advocate for out in the world. We're trying to sort of dispel the stigma around self-care being selfish or self-involved in any way. Like I said, I'm Margaret Allen Crocker. I am from UMSL Counseling Services, where I work as a training clinician and see clients. So I work with individuals, but I also do presentations just like this. So why do we have this understanding that self-care is selfish, or that like being selfish or doing something for yourself is something that's like really not desirable, right? Like, would you call me selfish? Well, not to your face. Like, yeah, that like is something that we see as a negative. But there's actually sort of a healthy amount of selfishness and self-care that we need. I love this quote from Diane von Furstenberg, who's actually just here in St. Louis. If any of you are like fashion people, she came to St. Louis recently. The most important relationship in your life is the relationship you have with yourself, because no matter what happens, you'll always be with yourself. And I think we've all sort of been taught that maybe that's not that important, and we need to serve others and we need to care for others. I know in just sort of different professions, like care professions, Michaela and I were just talking about social work, like that can, you know, come up as the message of like putting others before you. And that's not always the case, right? Like we have to pour from our own cup, or we have to have something in our cup to pour from, to share with others. So another great metaphor is putting on your own mask on the airplane before helping someone else. Any other creature with their mask, you got to have yours on first. You got to make sure that you can breathe before you can help others get there. So how do we do it? How do we engage in self-care? And I just want to do like a blanket statement here. This is going to look different for everybody, and there are going to be specifics that like everybody needs to do, like sleep, eating, exercise, all of that. So I'm going to run through some different ways that we can care for ourselves. And self-care can mean everything from these necessities to just like keep our bodies and minds well, and little treats and little ways to make us feel better in the day-to-day, things that energize us. But starting with our body, and we'll talk more about our bodies and how important they are, and how useful they are with our mood a little later in the presentation. But the really important ones are sleep, exercise, and eating. Those are like the top three, I would say, for self-care. That's like, I think there's a lot of debate on, is that even self-care, or is that just a necessity? And my definition of self-care, I'm going to say, encompasses all of that. Everything we do, showering, sleeping, all those good things. I want to point out exercise here specifically, not to say that everyone has to exercise in the same way, or that exercise is going to look the same for everybody. So for some folks, exercise may be just going for a walk. Maybe you have a pet, maybe you take that pet for a walk. Maybe it's just, you know, doing a little stretch. I sit at this desk a lot, so I find myself doing a lot of these, a lot of getting rid of that tech neck. That can be exercise too, get your muscles moving. all that good stuff. Or it can be, you know, your more traditional, go to the gym, go to a dance class, play a sport. Those things can be really good for us and our mental health. Eating, so important, making sure that we're getting the nutrition we need, the right kinds of food, eating throughout the day. I think standard guidance is usually 3 meals and 2 snacks, actually. So making sure that you're getting those little snacks in throughout the day as well to keep yourself going. And I know this is one that was a challenge for me in college, and every day is a fight, but eating breakfast, making sure you get something in the morning, even if that's a granola bar, a banana, having something in your stomach, especially if you're going to drink a cup of coffee. That is a really good way to care for yourself. Give yourself a little somewhere for that coffee to land before it just hits your system. And then monitoring substance abuse, including caffeine, as I mentioned, and sugar. So we usually think of substances as drugs, alcohol, but caffeine and sugar are also substances to monitor and to think about. And maybe if you're having a hard time falling asleep, look at, oh, am I eating candy before bed? Can I eat that candy earlier in the day? Things like that, just kind of playing around, experimenting with those things. I love this one, laugh daily. TikTok, controversial, but can be a great laugh, especially if you're sharing those videos with your friends, talking to your friends, family. I'll mention pets again. My cats crack me up. Just anything that will make you laugh. Favorite TV shows. I know a lot of people like to rewatch their favorite comedies, that's self-care too. Practicing relaxation, we'll do a little practice of that before the end of our time today. And whatever that looks like to you. Again, for a lot of people, it's meditation. For a lot of people, it's not. Could be going for a walk. Some of these are overlapping, as you can see. I mentioned before, stretching your muscles, and then don't sit for more than an hour at a time. Kind of, even if it's just to get up and stretch, or to, there's that thing about if you're looking at a screen, look at something that's 20 feet away for 20 seconds to kind of reset your eyes. So I know we do a lot on a screen now. This is on a screen, but even as I'm talking, the screen is just kind of what I'm saying. So you can look away from the screen, look somewhere else. I just put a plant in my office. I really like it. I hope it lives in here. I hope it survives. So that is something that I can kind of look over at to really ground and center myself. Okay. Use your brain. So one of the great ways that we can care for ourselves is through setting realistic expectations for us, but also for the other people in our lives. So I work with a lot of my clients on making lists and prioritizing what really needs to get done today. And you're probably not going to get everything done on that list if you have a full day of classes. So seeing, okay, what actually has to be done, prioritizing, that kind of thing. Participating in activities you find meaningful and fun. That's hanging out with your friends. That can be watching TV. That can be exercising. Whatever it is, making sure you've got that time for those things that are important. I already mentioned the to-do list, and prioritizing it, but making sure you're keeping up with it. And making sure also that you're crossing things off of it and finding that joy in the checking off, right? I think often we think about getting stuff done and then it's done, but take a minute to be like, oh, cool, I did that. Look at all I accomplished. And I know a lot of folks will do to-do lists on whiteboards, which I think is great. But I also really like the idea of having physical paper or a file on the computer or something where you can see all those check marks that you made and really see that progress. Going along with that, you're going to break big tasks into smaller ones, focusing on your big goals and your small goals, and then learn to say no and mean it. So if you say, I can't come to that party, I can't work an extra shift, you said no, and that should be respected. And so you can hold in that yeah, I set a boundary. You can change your perspective. That's kind of a therapy skill that I teach. So just sort of reevaluating situations. And if you're feeling like you're being really negative, look for the positive. But if you feel like you're sort of giving a lot of credit where it might not be due, you can also say, hey, what can I sort of change here? What, maybe isn't working for me? And then learning to accept those things that we can't change when they come up, and just sort of holding like, wow, that's really difficult. Practice meditation and mindfulness. This can be really hard. We're going to get there. We'll talk a little bit about it. And some people really struggle with it and it seems really different. Just like a sport or a class or anything, it's truly a practice and it takes time. And I think a lot of folks are not always willing to give it that time. But when you do, it can really help clear things out for your brain for sure. And then plan on making mistakes. Even working in counseling, working in therapy, I think like, my God, what if I make a mistake? And it's like, okay, what if? Like we grow from that. And so I think just going in with that mindset, this kind of goes along with changing your perspective, that you're going to make mistakes and that's how we learn and that's going to be okay. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about emotions, which do occur in your brain. So they kind of go with the other slide, but they also occur in your body and we feel them in our bodies, definitely pretty heavily. So what I'll challenge you to do is notice your emotions and observe them non-judgmentally. And that's really hard when often we think about emotions as, well, I feel bad. There's a lot more nuance to that, right? So if you're feeling down, are you feeling sad? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Or if you're feeling good, are you feeling happy, joyful, relaxed? There's a feelings wheel that you can just Google feelings wheel and it gives you lots of good sort of words and emotions to express. I think the challenge here is that we want to observe them non-judgmentally. So even if we say, oh, I'm feeling really angry, I'm feeling agitated, before we say, oh, and that's bad and I need to stop, just notice those feelings. Experience them. Where are they in your body? Do you feel hot? Do your hands feel clenched? Kind of go through that and explore and know that those feelings are giving you information about something that's going on. And you can change your emotion by changing your behavior. So if you're saying, I'm feeling really sad, I'm feeling really down, the one thing I want to do, I want to curl up in my bed and I want to scroll the internet mindlessly for hours. That's probably going to make you still feel pretty down. So change your behavior. Even if it seems like the worst thing in the world, go for a walk, meet up with a friend. And sometimes doing that opposite action can really shake you out of that bad feeling. But that might not always be the best option. And you want to practice compassion and acceptance for what is going on. And so maybe today leaning into that scrolling is going to feel okay. And we'll try the walk again tomorrow. There's always a sort of balance. And I've been really thinking about lately how balance does not always mean 50-50, but sort of ebbs and flows, right? So you might have a really bad day and then rest a bit and have a really good day. And just sort of seeing those things move in and out. And knowing always that there is change coming, that things will always shift. And lastly, express your feelings. If you're upset with someone, tell them. If you're feeling sad, cry. Let those feelings out, share what you're feeling, don't hold them, and don't suffer in silence. It can be really painful to feel things. And I think we do a lot of different activities to avoid feeling our feelings. But if we sit with them and feel them, we can then let them pass and know that we are always in a constant state of change. So I realized I just gave you like a ton of information and just kind of ran through a lot of different stuff. So now I want to just kind of get more centered in our bodies. And we're going to do this 4-minute body scan meditation from Leslie Roque. These are all over the internet and you can find them. YouTube's a great source. There's lots of different people doing different kinds of meditations. I really like a body scan because it really connects that sort of mental and physical. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. And I invite you to really close your eyes and just sort of engage in the meditation as she walks us through.
Welcome to the body scan meditation. Sit comfortably, straight back, not leaning back. Close your eyes if you're comfortable, or pick an object on the floor and softly focus on it. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Breathe it all the way down to your belly and let your tummy expand. Slowly breathe all the way out until you are empty. Take another deep breath in through your nose. Breathe it all the way down to your belly and let your tummy expand. And again, breathe slowly all the way out until you are empty. As you begin to feel comfortable and relaxed, direct your attention to your feet. Notice the pressure of the floor on the soles of your feet. Notice your toes, the arches of your feet, your heels. Imagine each breath that you take flowing all the way through your body to your toes. Now breathe in relaxation to your ankles. Move your attention up to your calves. Let your breath bring them softness and relaxation. Breathe deeply and bring your attention to your knees. Slowly moving up, feel the weight of your thighs and your butt on your chair. Take another breath and notice your hips and lower back. Allow them to relax while still maintaining upright and present. Now bring your focus to your belly and feel it move in tandem with your chest as you breathe in relaxation and breathe out calm. Now notice your upper back and shoulders. Let them drop by an inch. And let them drop by another inch. And rest comfortably. Take a breath and bring your attention up to your neck, to the base of your skull. Let your breath carry away any tension that's staying there. Notice any tension in your jaw. Let it soften. Position your tongue softly between your upper and lower teeth. Relax your lips. Take a breath in. Notice it pass through your nostrils and how it feels in your throat when you inhale and when you exhale. Drop your cheeks and soften your eyelids, your eyes, your eyebrows, and your forehead. Now allow your attention to move up to your scalp and let go of any remaining tension there. Finally, allow your awareness to move through your entire body, rising up from your feet, through your spine, up and out the top of your head. Take a deep breath in, smile, and open your eyes.
Okay, so that was just 4 minutes. I feel more relaxed, a little bit more centered. I hope you all do too. We're able to find those few moments to find some relaxation and centering, and that's something you can do on your own for any amount of time. There's great resources online. Our counseling services website has some as well, but there are situations where you may need more than just self-care. So the grounding exercises aren't working, you just feel like you kind of can't handle it on your own. And that's where we come in as support. So anything like this. So not feeling like yourself, feeling mood changes that last more than 2 weeks. It's normal for our moods to fluctuate, but not to the point where we're, in serious mental pain or feeling really overwhelmed. If you're having difficulty functioning, getting your work done, hanging out with friends, things that bring you joy, you're not feeling like you can get to do those anymore, that's definitely a time to maybe seek out some therapy and come talk to us. I'll add to this list too, if you notice lots of changes or intense changes in your eating or sleeping patterns, either sleeping a bunch or not sleeping very much, especially waking up super early and not being able to get back to sleep, having trouble falling asleep, really any of those. And the same with eating too much, eating too little, feeling stressed about food. That's definitely a time to come and see us. And finally, absolutely, if you are feeling like hurting yourself or someone else, we are here. We are here 9 to 5. You can just walk in if you're in that situation and someone will see you. Again, this is crisis. If you're feeling like hurting yourself or someone else, please come to us and we can work with you. And then if those feelings are happening after hours in the evening, we have a 24-hour answering service that will get you the help you need. So even if it's late at night and you're having any thoughts of harming yourself, thoughts of suicide, you can call our number and we will get you help, or our answering service, who's there all the time, will get you the help that you need. So if you're feeling anything, any level of stress that you might need a little bit more help with, come see us. This is a really old picture, but we are in the Millennium Student Center, down the escalators and in the health center, or we're in with the health center, and we are here to help you. So please be in touch if you feel like you need some help. All right, I'll go ahead and stop the share and take any